We're back here for your number 6 YouTube QUAH.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Episode 6. So this is the ones where you answer questions, fan questions about fitness or about fashion. Doug, what's the question?
We don't answer fashion questions.
Why not?
We don't answer
We're an open book. You know what I mean?
Because I'll be all alone on that one. Doug, go ahead.
It's okay.
Jamie Lizaraga Jr. is asking, do you guys have any tips on developing a good mind and muscle connection with the lats?
You know, the lats are interesting.
We just actually talked about this.
We did. We talked about this on our podcast, Mind Pump.
We actually designed this in one of our programs specifically for people that have a hard time.
Maps aesthetics.
Here's the thing. When you're, the lats are tough muscles to feel, partially because they're behind you. You can't see them. And believe it or not, it makes a difference. In fact, a trick that I used to use with clients is that I have them look at 2 mirrors while they're working out to try and feel a muscle. That's not what I'm going to recommend right now. I've actually got a better tip. But when you can see a muscle, it does help. So because it's behind you, lats are hard to feel.
That's not the only reason.
They're also underdeveloped in a lot of people.
Another major reason why people have a hard time, and I think the majority is because most people suffer from upper cross syndrome. You're rounded forward.
Your shoulders are super protracted.
Yeah, but you'll feel the lats. That's more mid-back, I think. This right here is lats.
How do you get lats here when your shoulders aren't even in proper fixed position?
For sure, the number one thing that I've had to fix to help somebody, even before getting connected, is upper cross syndrome, since almost everybody has it.
No.
And when you go to, let's just use a seated row for an example. When you are in a protracted position and you row in like this, it's almost all biceps. So what happens is you've trained your body to pull with only your biceps, and only thing you do, then you go to do a pull up, or you go do a lat pull down, you do a seated row, bent over row. You're so used to using your arms to pull something closer to you, you don't even know how to engage your lats. So I think imbalances is the first one, and then after that, the mind-muscle connection to me is the next thing that I address.
Here's an easy technique, very, very simple. Isolate your lats at the beginning of your workout and then move into your compound lat exercises. One of my favorite exercises to do to isolate the lats is a straight arm pull down. This is where you get your hands on a straight arm, a straight barbell, or a rope.
Wouldn't you do a dumbbell for that exact same?
Pullover? So this is why
somebody who has to do a pullover has to be able to retract and get in that position.
So here's why I recommend the straight arm pull down. Because when you're doing a pullover on the bench, you're getting a lat stretch, but once you get here, there's no more resistance, and it's hard to teach that contraction. If you use where you're standing with the rope.
Wow, I had no idea we were going to go here and disagree. I'm going to disagree with you right now, because here's when you were. That's what's great about it when you're in a stretch position. It forces them to have to feel it because they're stretched all the way out. Where you could go through this entire range of motion and actually never feel your lats if you still have that. If you have a problem already with it connecting to your lats, and you show somebody, or we're telling somebody on YouTube, well, I'm not there to engage you, and you go out and you go do a lat pull down. If you're protracted and you have a hard time engaging your lats, you're still going to have a hard time. So where at least I can be able to get you to at least feel your lats.
So I'm going to get in a stretch position and have you hang first and have you retracted and then just work on depression in an isometric position. So I'm going to squeeze, then relax. That would be my step 1.
So in essence, I think what we all agree is an isolation movement before a compound movement to feel the lats working.
Well,
so
explain what the difference between the two.
Well, isolation movements involve one joint. So whether you're doing the wrong exercises, like they're saying, dumbbell pullover or a downward shrug, or you're doing a straight arm pull down.
Dude, straight arm pull down is literally one of the hardest things to teach somebody.
Yeah,
I can't believe you would even give that to somebody who's having a hard time.
So here's why I'll argue my point. When you're trying to feel a muscle, you want to feel it in its contracted position, not necessarily its stretched. So if I'm teaching someone to feel their chest, get it in a hard squeeze contracted position. Back here, since they've already got bad connection, stretching the chest out to someone who's got a bad connection to their chest, it's gonna be hard for them to feel it. When you're doing a pullover, you're getting that stretch, but here's what will happen with beginners, at least in my experience, they're gonna feel a lot of tres major and minor. They're not gonna feel necessarily lats because these are also heavily involved in that stretch position. Now, to your point about rounded shoulder, here's the deal. Scapular retraction, rhomboids, mid-trapezius, not the lats. Lats attach at the humerus.
The depression piece.
And the lats pull the humerus back or down. So can I do a lat pull down with the forward shoulder using my lats? You better believe it. In fact, people who have dominant lats but weak mid-backs walk around just like this, which is why I recommend, which is why I'm not necessarily saying you have to correct that. Now, that being said, are you going to get a full lat contraction and work out of your back if you don't correct Forward shoulder? No, you're not. It's going to be very, very difficult because, again, like Adam's saying, in that forward shoulder position, you're going to get some lats, you're going to get a lot of arms. So isolate the lats first, then go into a compound movement right after. My favorite combination is a straight arm pull down with the rope at the bottom, focus on squeezing my shoulders down and back, feeling the contraction, immediately switch over to a lat pull down. Both of them not necessarily the most amazing lat developers, but for this particular case,
it's not
you'll
huge.
feel a lat.
I was gonna say the lat pull down, but basically holding it and really opening the chest and bringing the chest to the bar.
Get that squeeze.
In an isometric position to squeeze is
That's a good one, Adam. You talk about that all the time. Is focusing on bringing the chest forward.
Yes. That's why, I mean, for me, just in my experience, it's almost always been an imbalance first that's making it difficult for them now to mentally connect. So I think once I get them to fix the imbalance, then it's much easier for me to help them mentally connect to that. So I prefer either the pullover. I love where Justin's going with a static hold like that, because a static hold with a light weight, you can really concentrate
build
on
that connectivity.
So either a band or a lat pull down. And this is what Prime was about. So we created Max Prime to help people prime specific muscles that they have a hard time connecting to. So the idea is that you first fix the imbalance. So balance of upper cross syndrome is tight shoulders, tight chest. So I'm gonna mobilize that, stretch that area out, get my lats, my back engaged by either doing an isolation move or by static movement like he's saying, doing like the lat pull down movement like he's saying, getting that engaged, and then going to the big gross motor movements like the bent over row, the deadlift, a heavy dumbbell row.
You want it to be an active contributor at the end of the day, and that's why we do these techniques before we get into our actual workout.
Right, so simple tip, pre-exhaust your muscle that you're targeting, in this particular case is the lats, with an isolation movement. Get it tired, get it to so you can feel it with an isolation movement, then move to your compound movement. One thing we're leaving out here, and I can't believe you didn't say anything, Justin, although you're kind of alluding to it, isometrics. Isometrics are great it's basically, right?
Yeah. Static hold would be an isometric.
Yeah, so which is really, I mean, if you really want to connect to something, tense it for a long period of time, 15, 20 seconds. You'll feel that muscle start to fire. You'll start
as
to
long
get
as you need,
to it.
yeah, really.
Absolutely.
Just you build that connection, and you can actually feel it. So.
And then you can move through the range of motion and start to feel
Absolutely.
it. Excellent. Look, if you want us to answer a question on these episodes, do it in the comments. Also, share this video with all your friends and family. It's a great video. They'll like it.